Bert Oliva's Mastermind Circle.
Hello, and welcome everyone to another Mastermind Circle. I want to start by letting everyone know that we're really excited. We have a full house today. There's a lot of new people, and I'm really excited to share with you the topic today that has to do with journaling. But we're going to get into the details. Before everything, for those of you that are new, I want to introduce myself. My name is Bert Oliva. I've been doing seminars at a professional level for over 21 years now. However, I'm going to play a video, and the video will tell you more about who I am and what it is that I do. And then after the video, it's going to give you the house rules and the things that you learn here at Mastermind. So you ready? If you're ready, raise your hand. If you're a member and you're already here, raise your hand so I know you're here, you're paying attention. Good, thank you. So you guys ready? Here we go.
Bert Oliva is an international orator. He speaks around the world about his experiences and teaches humanology, the scientific study of human potential. He has enchanted audiences all over the world, showing them the power of mind over matter.
He's one of the most talented speakers out here, and I highly recommend him to any type of
The more prepared you are, the luckier you'll be.
He is the world-renowned authority on leadership and human behavior.
Mr. Bert Oliva.
Bert Oliva!
He's considered the voice of inspiration and motivation. Today, he'll pass his knowledge on to all of us.
For over 2 decades, Bert Oliva has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Bert has a dedicated social media following and an impressive online influence few possess, enabling him to communicate with audiences he has touched near and far.
I think he's one of the greatest motivators out there.
The thing I love about Bert is he's on stage and he gives his heart every single time.
He has developed many programs, recorded audio CDs, and written books, all of which to help those ranging from individuals to corporate and Fortune 500 companies. He has dedicated his life to speaking all over the globe and met some of the most influential and powerful people in the world.
Okay, let's go.
He has also coached highly successful business executives and politicians.
Normally seen as impossible.
I believed it and I did it.
An infectious motivator.
So get ready to learn tools that will help you tap into your potential.
Pay attention, this is real stuff.
Get ready to have an experience you won't soon forget. Please help me welcome Bert Oliva.
Remember, this session here is a learning session. Next week, we have a guest speaker. So 1 week is a guest speaker, 1 week is a lesson. So you guys ready for the lesson? Start raising your hands. I want to see the hands going up. Good. Well, here we go. I want to go ahead and start today. What we do is every other week, we have a person come in and share their story. I truly believe that everyone has had a test in their life or a mess. A test is part of a testimony, and a mess is part of a message. So that person will have 5 minutes, and then they'll have, it's not only to tell us that what happened in their life, the test or the mess, but the process and the lesson that they learned as they were doing it. So today, our guest speaker is Susie. Hello, Susie.
Hi there.
Okay, so remember how this works. It's 5 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and rate you and tell them, what you could have done better, or if you did a great job, how perfect it was. So you have 5 minutes. What's going to happen as soon as I start, you will hear a bell. I'll say go. And then a minute before the end, you'll hear the bell again. And then the third time you hear the bell is because you're done. Then we'll remove you from the video, the live feed, and then we can go on with the presentation. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let me leave it on you. Go.
This is my first time, and I thank you, Mastermind, for allowing me to do this. Anyways, my name is Susana Ho. I was born in Macau, raised in Peru, and lived many years in the United States. Being in the United States, especially living in Hawaii, you learn to be very trusting of others, because that's the society that I have lived there for many years. Everything pretty much is kind of like black and white. There's no in between. And if somebody's going to tell you, okay, trust me, and you trust them on whatever they tell you they're going to do for you. In 2006, I had the fortune to come and move to Miami to start a business. My brother asked me to start a business with him, and we started setting up mortgage and real estate business. And many times you say, okay, since you have the background of being a trusted person, you decide to say, okay, I'm going to leave this person to do an investment for me. And I trusted him to do all the best for me, look for property, investing it, and since I came from a society of the property being so high and expensive, coming here to Miami, I thought those properties were kind of less expensive, and I said, go ahead and do it. But I did not realize that the property, real estate property taxes were so high, and I did not do my due diligence on checking on those things. And after that, I purchased a property. Everything was fine and dandy. And 2008 came about. And you guys know what happened in 2008. The economy went south. Properties came down. The investments that I had went, well, you know what happened, went down too. And all the money that I have invested in there disappeared. Lost the properties. And also I lost the trust that I put in that person because that person did not give me all the parameters of purchasing the property. But at the same token, what I learned is that I need to do my own due diligence and do my own research too, that not let the other person do and put the words and the work on it, but I need to do my own research also. And that's many times, that's what we tend to do, trust other people, but it's not only trusting. The trusting nature that I have, it has not disappeared. However, I need to learn how to work on it and not only trust that person, but do my own due diligence again. And talking about those trusting parts of a person, especially for a woman, my age, my message is for other women to do the same thing. And also, at this point in time that we are in a retirement age, for all the women out there, you look at what you have and also research and do more things that is beneficial for you to be able to go into a retirement age without any problems. Like for me right now, I will say I will keep on working until I disappear from this earth, but I will be teaching others how to do better. And hopefully they will not get into the problems that I had in 2008. And well, whoever would like to learn more things, what I do work in financial services. I do many other things as consulting, and I hope that whatever message or mess that I got myself into, it doesn't happen to you guys. And always remember, trusting is not that, but do your own due diligence and let work for you not to get into trouble as I did get myself into. And pretty much is that what I have for you guys today. And thank you very much again. My name is Susana Ho. And there's a part that I don't know what else to say.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, Susie, I'm going to bring you back in a little bit at the end where we're going to ask you questions. So if there's any questions you have for Susanna at the end, you'll be able to ask her and myself, depending on the lesson that we're going to do today. So there's something I want to bring up. Okay, when Susie did what she did, you know, the hardest presentation in the world is a 5-minute presentation. You know, you can speak for 3 or 4 days on something, and that's pretty cool, and it's easy for a lot of people because people can actually speak for a long period of time. It's when you break it down to 5 minutes That's one of the most difficult presentations there is. So Susie did a good job. I would give her like a 7 from 1 to 10. She knew what she was talking about. She actually got a little stuck there, and she ended it a little early. And I think that has to do with doing your homework a little more. Make sure that when it's your turn to do this next week, in the next 2 weeks when we have another speaker come up and you volunteer, this will help you. This helps you because it's not easy. Like she said, this is her first time doing it. Being in front of a camera and sharing part of your story, your life story, whether it's a test or a mess, I think is extremely important, and especially in today's world, because the future of business, doing business around the world, is doing it in front of a camera. As much as I really don't enjoy it, I enjoy being live in front of people and doing the things that I do. However, this is the future. So what better place than here, a Mastermind, where everyone supports you, to be able to do something like that. However, what I would have loved to hear a little bit more about what she's doing now and how she can actually help, and more detail of her business, because she's an owner of a great business that is expanding leaps and bounds every day, but that wasn't said. So we'll get into the questions later, and maybe you guys can ask her what is it that she actually does, and then she'll break it down for you. But overall, she did a great job. Let me tell you, it's not easy, and you'll see, because when your time comes, when you're ready to do it and you volunteer, you'll see that it's a little different than what we play off in our minds. And then when we actually go do it, it's like, oh, wow, I could have said this, I could have done that. So are you guys ready for the lesson? If you're ready for the lesson, raise your hands. Let me see your hands up. Okay. The more hands go up, the more excited I get, and then the more I'm able to do this. So if you want to go ahead and be and share your story 2 weeks from now, because next week we have a speaker, I need you to let Valerie know. Valerie's the one that's looking at all the questions, and she's actually chatting back and forth with some of you. So make sure that you get in line. And you might not be able to do it next week because we already have a few members lined up. But if you're ready for it, just make sure that you participate. See, I tell people this all the time. The more you get involved in everything that you're doing in life, the more life will give you back. It's in the Bible. You reap what you sow. You want to be successful. You want to be wealthy. You got to take action. I do seminars all over the world. I just did a seminar in Orlando, and I met a lot of people there, and a few of those people are here, actually members. And what I see is, like, everyone wants to do it. Everyone talks about it, but not everyone does it. And every little thing that you do to better your life and take your life to that next level it's worth $1 million. You got to get involved. And that's what I tell people. They don't do it. They talk about it, but they don't do it. Or they do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 sessions. And then they start applying certain tools and techniques, and next thing you know, their life gets a little better. Then they forget where they were at. They forget where it all started. Man, even when you get better at it, you keep doing it. I've been doing seminars for so many years, and every time I get on stage, if you ever see me, and you guys, some of you know, because I do a lot of a reality show and a lot of behind-the-scenes footage that we're doing, especially now we're doing Snapchat. And when you see what I'm doing, I show you the behind the scenes. Till this day, even before today, before I got in front of this camera, I make sure that I do perfect. Practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect, because if you're doing it wrong, you're going to do it wrong really good. So perfect practice makes perfect. I always practice. I always look at my PowerPoint. I always make sure that I do my checks and balances like Susie was talking about. It's really important. So we're going in for the lesson. I want to see how many hands we can get raised up. Raise your hands. Come on now. Find the button and plus raise your hands. Here we go. I just want to make sure you guys are with me. We're going to talk about journaling. Let me share with you how important journaling is. Today's lesson is about journaling. And let me tell you, this is one of the tools that I used years ago that changed the quality of my life. And it continues to do that. How many of you, by raising your hand, how many of you want to leave a legacy in this world? It doesn't matter if you don't have any children. It doesn't matter if right now you're not married. It doesn't matter what age you are. You're never too late and you're never too early to get started. But if you want to leave a legacy, this is one way of doing it. Does that make sense? Now, I'll give you an example. Do you journal? By a show of hands, if you journal, let me see the hands. How many people actually do journal? Good. I'm seeing, okay, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's not a lot in this large group that we have. We have right now, I'm roughly looking at about 80 people in the room, and 6 raised their hands. Maybe the other ones didn't know that there's a button to raise your hand, but at the end of the day, not many people do it. Especially in today's world with this new thing, you know, the cell phone, the technology, we forgot about how important journaling is. So I'm going to share that with you today. I'm going to give you concrete tools to be able to journal. You guys excited about that? If you are, raise your hand. I want to see hands going up again. Good. Now, journal. Let me break it down for you. You know, it's like a diary when you were young. You know, a lot of people did diaries when we were young. We were told, oh, this is great. You can save certain things in your life and so forth. A diary or a journal is a diary or daily record of a person. Journaling is the act of achieving or recording something, especially in writing. You got to write things down. That you'll see how much more successful you become by creating journals, by doing journals, by you know, because you start off with 1 and you end up having 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to get into the details here. This is one of the things that's really important about journaling. You know, what is it going to do for me? People ask me all the time, well, you know, why journal? You know what? Let me go back real quick because I want to talk about something. Let me share a story with you. The way I got into journaling, I was pretty young in the self-help business. And I remember that I would go around with one of my mentors, and everywhere we went, he would whip out this book. I thought it was his Bible because it was really thick and big, but it looked like a Bible, and it wasn't. So I eventually said, you know, what is it that you're doing? What do you write down? Every time we go into a meeting, every time we have a conversation, every time, why do you do this? And he says, because this is, I mean, I'm going to share some of these tools with you. This is so important. If you want to be successful in life, Bert, you got to journal everything that's happening in your life. Now, one thing you'll notice from now on, because it's like buying a car. You know, when you go out and you buy that car you've always wanted, the next thing you know, you see that car everywhere you go. You know, that's happened to a lot of people. Well, that's the same thing. After today, you will start noticing how real successful people journal. And if you're in the process of expanding your business or expanding your life to have a better quality of life, journaling is important, extremely important. So let's go back to why journal. You know, better connection with your values, emotions, and goals. You'll be able to connect with them better yourself. You'll be able to actually see things, go back and reference some of the stuff that you're doing. Here, I'll give you another one. Improve mental clarity. You know, some people that forget everything, you know, and some, you know, I have a friend of mine that he always tells me, sometimers, you know, sometimes I forget everything, you know, but if you write it down, you won't forget it. It's been proven. 80% retention span comes from an action. And I'm not talking about an action like just tapping away. And no, I'm talking about an action of actually picking up a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and writing things down. So it will give you clarity. You won't forget as much things because you'll be writing it down. You'll say, I know where it is. I know where I put it. I put it in my journal. A lot of people have sticky notes. They have a lot of different systems. However, one of the things that you'll notice with these systems is that if you're going somewhere and you have your journal with you and you needed those codes or you needed that information that you wrote down, you're pretty much stuck because that sticky note's not with you, but your journal will be with you. So from now on, instead of what am I going to do? Why, you know, it's going to give you mental clarity. You know, it's going to help solve problems. And you'll say, well, how's that going to do? I'll explain that to you a little bit later, but it's going to help you solve problems in your life, not in my life, not in someone else's life, you know, in your life, because you will become a master of your life because of journaling. Here, it will improve your focus because you can always go back every day and look at what you wrote the day before. In fact, you can go back a couple of years later and look at some of the journals and see where you were at 5 years ago compared to where you are at today and how many things change and how many things haven't changed and you're still stuck. So journaling is really important, something I really keep pushing. You know, you can track your development, which is the same thing I was just telling you. You can track, you know, everything, not only not only self-development, but development across the board and everything that it is you're doing, whether it's your business, your health, everything that you need is important. Another thing is aid personal growth. You know, it's one of the best tools for personal growth. And we'll get into why that. And then also it's been proven scientifically that it will stretch your IQ. It will expand your IQ. You'll become smarter. Isn't that important? I think it's really important to be smarter, right? Because the smarter you become, the more successful you become. I truly believe that to be wealthy in life is not about being lucky. I don't believe in luck. I believe that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. The more prepared you are, the luckier you're going to be. However, if you're doing all this writing, the writing that maybe didn't do when you were in school, when you start doing it now, you'll see how much more information, how much more potential, how much more of you have that you've been letting slip away. But not anymore, because you're going to start journaling. And if you've been doing it, great. But I'm going to give you some tools on how to really break it down and get a little bit more out of it. Why do you journal? Okay, well, where are you? What do I put in my journal, Bert? Well, one of the good things to put in your journal is where are you in your life right now? Where are you in your life right now? That's really important. Are you in a good place or a bad place? It doesn't matter. Write it down. And I'm going to give you concrete tools on how to get you started to make sure. Write everything that happens to you down. Sometimes you're in a meeting and you have to, or you're going to a meeting and you have to wait in the lobby or whatever the case is. While you're waiting, instead of going through your cell phone and seeing who's on Facebook and what, pick up a journal and write certain things down, like things that pop in your mind. It's just such a great thing. Another thing is turn off your inner critic. Some people have told me, Bert, but for me to journal, I don't know. I can't spell. I'm like, no one's going to see that journal. Which, by the way, I want to bring something up really important. When you are journaling in your household, because it starts off with you, my children journal. See, you start off doing it, and your significant other will start doing it. At first, they'll think you're crazy, and we've been through this process. If you've ever been to my seminars, I truly believe crazy people succeed. But, people will go ahead and they'll tell you, well, I'm afraid that my husband's going to see it, my wife is going to see it. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't see it. You should respect another person's journal, and in return, they'll respect your journal. Even your children's journal. I don't go through none of my children's journal. And then something is important. So make sure that you're not holding yourself back. Your inner critic starts telling you, what, you shouldn't be writing all this stuff there because someone might find it. And you're holding yourself back from growth. You want to grow, you got to write things down. You got to be as honest as you can with yourself. And the best thing is that the journal can take a beating more than the significant other and anyone else you talk to. A journal will take a beating. You can give it all you want, and it will take it. And it will take also all the love you can give it. A journal is a beautiful thing. Your struggle and successes, which is what I was talking about. Don't just journal all the successes, because that's not really what life is really about. Life is about balance. You'll have great days and you'll have horrible days. So the whole thing is to write both things down as you're going through it. Whenever you're having that moment and you're saying, today's really one of those days. This is the way I'm feeling right now. And you write it down. Next thing you know, you do it 3, 4, 5 days, and you'll be able to go back and say, you know what? I spend most of the time feeling this way. You're now aware. You don't have to wait for someone else to tell you. Excuse me. You'll actually know that, wow, I could be doing so much better. But then it goes in the other way too. When you're doing great and you're closing more deals and you're doing more things closer to your dreams and goals, then you'll be able to go back and see your recipe, not my recipe. Your recipe. See, because your recipe will work best for you. I can give you all these tools and techniques, and I want you to adjust them after you get them started. Once you get it started, and then you start coming out with your own recipes, this is how you leave legacies behind. This is how when someone can actually find certain things. There's a story, it went something like this. I read years ago, and I thought it was so phenomenal story. There was this guy who would journal everything. He had, and actually in his den, he had a bunch of journals. And then his son, had gone to college, had grown up, gone to college. And I remember that he says he was going through the attic and he finds a journal. And he looks at the journal and he says, Bobby was writing in a journal? I can't believe this. Where did he get the idea? Hello, you have a whole den full of journals. So he goes ahead and opens a journal. Now, mind you, Bobby wrote this journal when he was like 10, 11 years old. Bobby's now 21 years old. He's in college. He's doing great. So he goes to his den and then looks at the date that it was written. And he reads it and he goes, wow, that's awesome. But is that really what happened? So when he went and opened his journal read, same date, same time. His journal read, today I went fishing with Bobby. We had a great time. When he read Bobby's journal, it said, today I went fishing with my dad. I had the best time of my life. So what I want you to understand is this is such a powerful tool. And if you start doing it now, if you have children and they start seeing you doing it, they'll start doing it themselves. In fact, one of the things, there's one of the mastermind members here, Oliva, who took his son in one of the challenges that we did to the library. It was a date. He had a date with his son. He bought a book and his son bought a book. Well, now the next date, it should be that you're going to go out there and you buy a journal and let him choose a journal. And it doesn't matter what color it is or whatever, because it's that you choose that journal for you, because it's the one. In fact, you know what I tell people when you're ready to buy a journal is, you walk into a certain place and you're like, you know what, this is the one I want. It's going to call your name. If you go to these bookstores all over the world, you'll notice certain things. It's like marketing, marketing and advertising. I'll give you two examples. If you go to a supermarket and you want to stay healthy, all you have to do is walk on the outside of the supermarket, around the actual aisles on the outside, and all the meats are there, all the dairy is there, even the wine, all the stuff that's pretty good, not in excess. But if you drink wine, it's been shown that it's good for you to have 1 cup of wine, maybe a couple times a week. But everything that's healthy is on the outside. Everything in the aisle is not a good thing. So when you go to a supermarket, it's actually done in a certain way to get you to buy. So they do the end cap to motivate you to walk in, and once you're in there, you buy the little fries, and you buy all this other stuff that's not good for you. And the reason I'm sharing that with you, because it goes on, you're being conditioned all the time. When you walk into a bookstore and you say to them, hey, I'm looking for a journal, they don't have just one journal. They have a journal section. However, in that journal section, there's no books that show you how to journal. You know why? Because at the end of the day, this is something that is given once you start doing it, it's something that it's like a hand down to the next person. You're passing the baton. So you'll start, and in fact, you'll notice that all the widgets and the trinkets and all the little expensive gadgets like night lights and all that stuff are right next to the journal. Why? Because wealthy people can buy those little trinkets and toys. And that's what they do. They do it in such a way to market to you that, and you should realize next time you walk into a bookstore and you say, I want to look at your journals, you're going to see $5 journals all the way to a couple $100 journals. You want leather bound, you want gold leaves. I mean, they have whatever you want to get when it comes to journaling. It's an art. And then when you start doing it at that level, it's just amazing. I'm not telling you to go out there and buy an expensive journal and then that'll make you successful. I'm telling you to pick up a notebook right now. Go to Walgreens, go to CVS and buy a notebook. Get started. That's really what's important. Get started. Another thing for journal is goals. We forget our goals sometimes. We start a goal, we have all these plans, but if you're journaling it and you're writing it down and you can actually track it, I got 21-day program. I'm going to work on this for the next 21 days. If you do it every day for the next 21 days, your life will start changing. However, you don't track it. Well, now you should. Now you will be able to, because you're going to be doing it with a journal. Inspiring quotes. Those quotes that you like and you find sometimes, but then you don't know where you place them? They're going to be in your journal. Grab your journal and put your motivational quotes, whatever you find. You're like, you know what? I like this quote. Write it down. And you'll be able to go back to it at any given time. You can talk to someone and say, you know what? There was this one quote. Wait a minute. You open up your journal, you look at it, you're like, this is the quote. And you share it. So you can use it for that. You can use it as a study list. These are the things I want to study, or my to-do list. And you'll tell me, well, I can put my to-do list on a piece of paper. You could. But I'm not talking about your to-do list to go shopping, at a supermarket. I'm talking your to-do list for life. You know, and we'll talk about that in another session, but this is important. Also, gratitude list. You can create a list of being grateful. What are you grateful for in your life? So you'll say, well, you know, I'm grateful for having my children. I'm grateful for having you guys right now in front of me, watching this webinar. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you believed in what it is I did, or whenever you saw me or whenever we met, enough to say, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm grateful for that. Guess what? You're in my journal, because that's really what's important. So I can go back and say, you know, this is amazing how, you know, you're being grateful, but you're not just saying it. You're writing it down. Remember, retention span comes from 80%. Taking action, getting involved. Well, that's what journaling is doing. You know, so I'm going to give you 3 tools so you guys can start journaling. You guys want the tools? If you want the tools, I want you to raise your hands. Come on now, raise your hands. There you go. I want to make sure you guys are with me. What I want you to do is I want you to do these 3 tools that I'm about to give you are extremely powerful tools. So I really want you to look at this. You're going to go ahead and for the next 7 days, you're going to get your journal. It could be a notepad, you know, and paper. I'm telling you, you can buy a $2 notepad from one of these, you know, drugstores or from Walmart. You can get a $2 notepad. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy, you know, just to get you started. What I want you to do is I want you for the next 7 days, I want you to write a full page. You choose the time. It could be in the morning. It could be in the evening. This is to condition your subconscious mind to take action and get involved. So what I want you to do is I want you to write a full page, not a half a page, not a page and a half. Make sense? 1 page per day for 7 days. So you're like, what am I going to write? I don't care what you write. Just write. I want you to let yourself go. Remember that inner critic? Don't worry about it. You're going to be so surprised on how intelligent you are and how great you are once you start writing things down. So what I want you to do for 7 days, I want you to write. Sit down, say, you know, every day at 7 o'clock at night, I'm going to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever time it takes you, and I'm going to write that full page. So you're probably going to go out and buy a small journal. I get you. That's fine. Because if it's small, that's less writing than if you get a big journal. But the whole thing is not that. It's to condition you that if you write every day, after 7 days, 2 things are going to happen. You're going to start off, and it's going to be difficult to write the full page. By day 2, you're getting closer to doing a full page. By day 3 or 4, you're doing the full page, and you want to do more, but you can't. Follow the rule. After 7 days, you're so amped up that you don't just want to write at that precise time every day. You want to start writing it all the time. And that's cool. Now, mind you, you could do this. And by the way, I want you to write 1 full page. If you want to do it, you do it in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. What I'm also going to give you as a challenge is I want you to do 1 full page on every sitting. So let's say, for example, you wake up in the morning, you're having a great day, you're excited, you had a wonderful dream. Go ahead and write it down, but do a full page. If at lunchtime your day gets even better or you're having some difficult issues going on in your life, it doesn't stop you. You can write down what you're going through, but it's still 1 page. Full page, no more and no less for 7 days. After 7 days that you did this exercise the way I'm telling you, after those 7 days, you can go ahead and just go buck wild. Write 3 pages on something, write 1 little quote. It's just to get you conditioned. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Can't hear you. Of course I can't, but I know you're listening. All right, here we go. The other thing is, the best time to journal, every moment of the day. Whenever something clicks, you journal it. Every moment. There is no perfect time. In fact, as you start getting more into journaling, I'm going to give you 2 other tools that are not here. 1, you can go ahead and get yourself a pen that has those different colors, you know, and let's say if you're talking about your relationship, you might want to write that in red. If you're talking about your finances, you might want to write it down in blue. If you're talking, or green, and then if you're talking about your business, you might want to write it down in blue. So as you go through your journal, you're going through your journal, you're like, oh wait, this is all about my relationship, because you can tell right off the bat, depending on the color. So that's one technique you can use. The other thing I recommend is, once you get into journaling, Buy yourself 3 or 4 journals. Have a journal for business. Have a journal for dreams. Because let me tell you, we're not going to get into that today, but we have tools that will be able to actually teach you how you can actually capture some of your dreams, and messages are there. However, we forget about it. You know, after like the first 30, 40 minutes after you wake up, you kind of forget about the way the story went, the dream. So have a dream journal right next to your bed. And then as soon as you wake up from a dream, a nightmare, whatever it is, you journal it. But now you have a journal for your dreams, you have a journal for your personal life, you have a journal for your business life. So that's one thing that, you know, as you get more into journaling, I recommend more than just one journal. And the last one is take your journal everywhere. Back to the prop, back to this. You take this everywhere. I remember years ago, in order to have one of these, they were huge. And people say these are big. No. The old Motorola's, those things were big. And people took it wherever they could, and it was like a status quo. They wanted to show off. Now they take these iPhones and Android phones and all these things everywhere they go. That means that if you're doing it with that, you can do it with your journal. Take your journal wherever you go. Use every moment of the day to see how much information you can put into that journal. And let me tell you, you can come back a year later and have a conversation with me. You're going to tell me, man, my life has changed. There's not one person I haven't met that's really successful that doesn't journal. There's not one person I haven't met that hasn't started to journal in their life and they haven't come back to me years later telling me it was one of the worst ideas you've ever given me. No, it's a great idea. It's not only an idea. It's not only a concept. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. Successful people journal, period. I don't care. If you want to fight it, you want to argue, well, guess what? We're going to have questions soon. You can come and ask me those questions. But let me tell you, you will start noticing this, and you will start noticing the changes in your life, the awareness that you'll have, the things that you start noticing. Man, I can't believe I was writing. In fact, I don't have to wait for my significant other to tell me I'm this type of person. I know what type of person I am. You know why? Because I see it in the journal. I see myself. I talk to myself. Remember, journal, you can tell it whatever you want. It never talks back. The only time it talks back is when you go back and read it and realize, wow, you know, if I would have done it a little different. Or, wow, what was it that I was doing in 2005 where I was getting back on my feet? You know, or for example, what happened to Susie in 2008? There was a big crash. It happened to us too. So what happens in my journal, before that, we were doing wonderful. After 2008, everyone got fired. I would call them, hey, you guys want a seminar? They'll tell me, well, we don't need to motivate anyone, Bert. Our motivation is that if they're going to end up keeping their job. So at the end of the day, everything shifted. However, I went back to my older journals and remember, guess what I used to do to get my name out there? And guess what? 9 out of the 10 things that I used to do when I was journaling back then still work today. So I was able to get back on my feet like this. Why? Because I had my recipe. And so will you. So I wanted to share that with you. I always leave with a quote. You know, journal is writing. You know, journal writing is a voyage to the interior. I love that quote, and I think it's really powerful, and you'll be surprised once you get more involved and start doing more of a journaling. Well, we're about to wrap up the session. We're going to have some questions. So I'm going to open up the questions. I want those of you that want to ask questions to put the word live. Remember, live people go first. We want you to get used to being in front of your camera, your phone, whatever device you're using, so we can see you, and whoever you're asking the question for, whether it's Susie or myself, we'll be able to actually see you and communicate with you. And when you're asking a question, please ask one question and be clear about it. The reason is because I usually try to get at least 5 people in before the hour is up, but I would like to get a little bit more people involved. So we'll go with it. We'll give it a shot this time around. So let me get ready. You guys are ready for the questions? Raise your hand if you're ready for the questions. I want to know you guys are paying attention. Come on now. Oh, there we go. There we go. I just want to make sure you guys are still with me. Okay, so I got a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one is sign up for the new people. There are invited guests. You know, you can always sign up. I recommend it. You know, sign up and get a discount. If you go to themastermindcircle.com/me, you get 50% off of the value that's online right now when you go to the Mastermind Circle. And that's only going to be there till the end of the week. After that, it's gone. So I'm telling you that, and I don't do that every single time, and you guys have been here with me for a while, you know that's true. Every now and then we just decide, you know what, let's go ahead and get some other people, more people involved. So if you have someone that's interested or yourself, you go to mastermind.com, themastermind.com/me, M-E, because it's for you. You're going to create a better quality of life. You're not doing it for me. If you're doing it for me, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You've got to do it for yourself. So go there, and then you'll be able to get 50% off of the membership and just be here with me for the rest of the year. In fact, for the next 5 years, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I want you to be a part of the program. I want you to be able to, there's so much content I give out there. If you're part of my Facebook group, you'll be able to see it. Now I got into Snapchat, so I'm having I'm having a good old time with it. So you can see me there. You can see me on Instagram. Get involved. Help me grow the movement of positive movement. Not just, because I'm not all about the wealth. I'm about the balance. It's not just all about the money. I'll show you how to make a lot of money. I'll show you how to earn a lot of money. I'll show you how to have a great life. However, my most important thing is to really show you balance, whatever balance is for you in your life. For me, it happens to be my family, it happens to be. So get involved, not just here, but follow me on all social media. And if you see something you like, repost it, share it, because you might be able to change someone's lives by seeing something that you saw on one of my posts and you shared it. The other thing is, you can also, people that have been in here for a while have been telling me, I want some BOWA gear. Well, you can now go, if you're a member, you can go into your member on the mastermindcircle.com member section, and there's a banner up there that says go get your BOWA gear. You can get journals. We just put them up today. And we also have, I think, t-shirts that they just did. Make It Happen t-shirts. So if you want to get your BOWA gear, you can log in there. It's really affordable. It's not $30 for a shirt. We're not for that. We just want everybody they like the Make It Happen, they like the movement, just go in there and get that. Okay, and next week we're going to have a speaker. I'm really excited. The only way you get to find out who the speaker is, you'll find out throughout the week. Well, I'm going to give you a sneak peek, is Omar Perry. And he is an amazing motivational speaker. He's been, actually, not only is he our friend, he's one of my mentors. And this guy's been in the business for over 30 years. He's one of the best in the world. And you guys will actually get to meet him and be able to ask him questions live. It's going to be great. He is a master of wealth building. So that's going to be a powerful interview. Also, make sure we're here next Wednesday. Go, and for the members, make sure you log into the Mastermind Facebook account and the group. Okay, now, questions. The time for questions are here. We got about another 10 to 12 minutes. Here we go. Let me make sure she's back. Here we have Susanna Ho. Susanna!
Hi, Bert.
Okay, good. I want to make sure you can hear me. First person we're bringing in. So ask questions. Remember, when you come in as a member, you want to go live, I want you to say who you are and where you're from. Because I want everyone to understand that this is not just everyone from Miami or from Orlando. This is from all over the world. So I want to make sure that that's one thing that we do. And don't just sit there by the sideline. Okay, get your questions ready and come in and ask your question. And if you're embarrassed, just type up the question and Valerie will be able to actually ask it for you. Okay, so first person.
So my name is Coach Oliva from Canada. My philosophy is teach them younger. So my question to you is, Bert, about journal. Just to kind of share something with you. When my son was about 4, he was having issues at school. And I didn't know how to, I knew he was having issues, but he wasn't telling me. And I didn't know how to kind of deal with it or how to understand what he was going through. So I came up with the idea of journal. I don't know how, but I just came up with the idea of journal. Maybe I was in the shower. And you start journaling, you start writing. And the question is, I heard you said you're supposed to keep that personal space if it's your significant other or if your kids journal. You're not supposed to be seeing what their journal is. Is it applied to all age, or why I can understand the spouse, but when it comes to kids, why would you want to have that personal space? Wouldn't you want to know what is on their mind on how to deal with certain situation?
Yeah, you can find a lot about what they're thinking about and certain things because you have access to their internet account. You have access to seeing them online. This also shows a whole different level of trust. So it's really important because not only are you doing it with your significant other, but you're showing them through actions. I'm not going to go and I'll give you an example. My children, when mail comes in, I don't open their mail. I actually sit down next to them as they open the mail. And that's created such a strong bond than me just being the dad and I'm going to go ahead and take over your life and I'll tell you when you're ready. No, even Dylan, who's 14 right now, he gets mail, he opens his mail. I'll want to be next to him to make sure, but you know, he'll share it with me. He'll go, look, Dad, you know, I got this from school. This is awesome. He'll share it with me. So this is important because one thing is to say to your child or to someone you love, I trust you. Another thing is to show them that you do. No matter how angry you get or how upset you get, you don't grab that person's journal. You don't, because what you're doing is you're really not trusting them. So your journal is your journal. Their journal is their journal. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Chevy from Chattanooga, Tennessee, live on top of a mountain, Nick Row. That's a suburb of Signal Mountain. My question is, I guess I got two questions, one for her and one for you. Is it okay to do like a app journal? I found a journal called, what's it called? It's called,
I got your answer.
I Do Notepad.
Yeah, I got your answer. I do a lot of my notes on my phone. I'm always taking notes down. There's a magic that happens. And it's unexplainable. It's just been proven scientifically too that there's a magic that happens when a pencil or a pen touches a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is not being done nowadays, and that's horrible. You know.
How about video journaling?
That's something else, and that's again you trying to cheat the system.
No, I'm not. I'm just not a very good writer.
I'm not
a very good writer.
That's your internal dialogue. You are a good writer. You are better than you think. Once you get started, you will realize. It's amazing. When people do that exercise, Chevy, you'll come back in 7 days and say, man, I didn't know I can write like that. Man, this is so cool. Because we all have that inside of us. It's the innate feeling of being able to create something and change something. However, society or school or someone told you you couldn't do it and you decided not to do it. But no, you're a good writer. You will see that. Every time it happens. Now, as you evolve and you get more used to it, you'll have your journal, but yeah, you take notes on your phone. But there's some magic that happens, and I tell people all the time, there's a magic that happens when you read a book, a real book, and you touch the book, you smell the book, you go through the pages, you get your highlighter. It's different than the Kindle. It's different than just getting a computer and you know, and even your eyes hurt a little more. I mean, I like books. And, you know, so the same thing with writing. Once you start writing, you'll see a change in your life. And give it a shot. You'll see in 7 days. You and I, especially that you're a part of other groups, and we have a close connection. You and I have. You'll be able to ask me or tell me, Bert, this really worked. I mean, I didn't know I can write like that.
Right. Okay.
So what's
I was thinking about doing the video journal in Glide. I can send one to myself in Glide and store it, you know, keep it.
You can do that too, but I tell you, give the paperwork one.
Okay.
Yes, and you will see. So what's your question for Susie?
Are you still in the business, and what is the name of it, and what do you do in your business?
Well, the type of business that I'm in is with Lifeline Insurance and Financial Consultant.
Oh, yeah, Surge. Yeah.
Surge.
Awesome.
He's my partner.
Oh, awesome.
And we have been together with the business for over almost 6-7 years already. And basically what we do is educate people on finances. And
right, yeah.
That's basically what we do.
That is awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying this because she's here or Surge is. They push it a little harder. They really are about building relationships. It's not so much. I've seen Surge and Susie both sometimes not take a deal because they'll send them in a different direction. It's not about just taking someone's money. They really, especially Surge, who loves to give information. He loves to educate people. Sometimes he doesn't sell because
I follow him on Facebook. I see his messages all the time. I love it.
Yeah, so sometimes he educates so much that they don't buy.
He overeducates, maybe.
Yeah. And then what happens is that they figured out, oh, he told me all this, I can go do it. No, man, you still need an expert. And that's why Susie and Serge are really, and they're great partners, man. I know them for years. In fact, I met Serge through Susie. Susie
Oh, okay.
to the Mastermind, this thing that we're doing right here, but she used to go live. And when I was doing it live, and she brought Serge in one time, and I'm like, you know, this guy's a character. And then he was in the audience, and he stands up, and we had a room of about 40 people. He goes, I have a question. I said, what's your question? He goes, what do you do when you have a man crush? I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I have a man crush, man. I like you. I was like, this is it. And it's like, we've been friends. It's just, you never know. You know, and Susie is like part of our family. I mean,
Susie, is nice meeting you, and thank you very much.
All right, so thank you, Shannon. Okay, who do we have next?
My name is Elia Cristina, and I live in Miami, Florida.
Perfect. All right, so go ahead. Who's your question for?
Susie.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
What
Susie,
can I
how
do
are
for you? Fine,
I
thank you.
just wanted to ask you, when did you realize that this is the path you wanted to go down?
Well, that's a path that I have been doing for the past 36 years. I started in insurance when I came here to the United States by accident. And looking at the different things that I was doing for people, helping them, guiding my agents, because I was a customer service at that time, guiding them to help their clients, I decided to become an agent. At the same token, when I became an agent, I realized that to help them, especially retire with a comfortable life, at that time, I used to be needed to put a lot of things together for them. And all of a sudden I says, hey, how is the best way to help these people, especially the self-employed individuals? And now working with Sergio, when I came here to Miami, I joined him in his business, and we pretty much created something that I was always wanted to create, a one-stop shop to be able to guide them properly and educate them first of all, because especially our community, our Latino community needs a lot of help in that. They do not trust others, and they think that they know everything, but it's not that way. You have to leave the doctor to their knowledge. You have to let the lawyer to their things. You have to leave the accountant do their things, and the financial services people or the agents do their own things. Yeah, everybody has their own expertise, and I love what I do. Every time that we meet somebody, every time they tell us this is this way, it's not, and we listen and we guide them properly to see how we can help them for the future, especially us. Yes. I hope it answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Elia.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, who do we have? We have enough for like 2 or 3 more people.
My name's Joe Gassman. I'm calling from Melbourne, Florida. So,
hello,
the game. My question is for Susie.
Hi, Joe.
As she told her story, she tells about coming from a culture that was extremely trusting. So it's just natural. And then you go through this distrust phase. How did you get your mojo back? How did you learn to trust again?
I guess that's my nature. I've been always trusting, and the way my parents taught me, especially my mom. And I say people will do things, but at the same token, why not give people second chances? And I'm very big at second chances. I think that I'm big at that. And people has not proved me wrong when I give them second chances, and I hope I do not come across to any of those things again. But that's basically what it is, trusting God that will guide you properly. And I'm not in the sense of religion or anything. I'm a spiritual. I do trust there's somebody up there that will guide you all the time, and do thank that person or that Almighty, because he has guided me in the right path. And that's what I try to do all the time. And I hope it gives you the answer that you wanted.
No, I wasn't looking for a particular answer. I just, sometimes to regain trust.
It's hard, but talking, you have to give it a try, and you have to little baby steps sometimes to see, okay, if this happened this way, what I can do, or maybe what I have learned for myself to be able to trust again. Yeah. Like I mentioned that I live in Hawaii many years. It's a society that is, if they did say, I will do this, I will do this. It's not like, and when I came to Miami, I realized that because Miami is different in particular society. You know that. Yeah, that's the reason
Yes,
why
I do.
I'm asking. And even when I learned my mortgage business, they were asking me to do several deals. At that time, I didn't even want to close one because of the things that I saw. I says, I'm not touching this stuff for nothing in the world, because there were too many things that I was not right for me. And that's one thing I didn't even do any. I only closed one business in 2008 because of that issue, that I do not do things that are not right and correct. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you're trusting your moral compass within.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.
Hey, Bert, thank you for the great message on journaling. And I am doing that. However, I may not be doing it to your format, but I will give it a try. And my question for Susie.
Hey, wait, where are you calling from and what's your name?
Belinda. I figured everybody knew me by now. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Belinda, and I am from Minnesota. So hello. I'm from way up north. So,
I know, and my partner is up there now.
Oh, he's in Minnesota. So my question for you, Susie, is that, you know, I've been studying and I'm watching Lifeline, coming across for the videos and everything else. Do you think, because you talked about, you know, some different cultural barriers and the trusting issues, which is an awesome moral compass for you to have, because there's a lot of times we step into things that we don't mean to. But do you think it was difficult for you to kind of break into a predominantly male industry?
Difficult was difficult, but I liked it so much at that time that I didn't care. Even in the insurance industry in Hawaii especially, they were all male dominant field at that time when I started. And there were a few women there, and my mentor was a woman. And she passed already, but she was a great agent, and she gave me all the little inside and outs to be able to be on that field, and I'm very grateful for her. And that's many times you says you need a mentor, and I believe wholeheartedly about the mentorship, because Bert has been a mentor since I have met him since 2008, and everything that they have done has been a step forward to help me grow. And in this case of talking to you guys, I wouldn't have done it if it's not because of their guidance, of all the little things that they have done, even through Sergio too, because Sergio is being mentored by Bert.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. Okay, we have two more. I was just told by my producer we have two more.
It's Lisa from Long Island, New York. I have one question for you and one question for Susie. But when you were talking about the journalism, and you do know I journal because I'd mentioned that to you the other day, is it to put the time stamp on it or a date, or just
right? I would date it, and the timestamp is important. I think yeah, you should do both, but you don't have to. You can do it however you want. A lot of times, some people will go ahead and, you know, put a date, and then you know that for the next 4 or 5 pages will be that day, and then do another date for the following day. But either way is right. I recommend you do both. You put the time and the dates. You know exactly when that thought process or that one thing in your life happened, and you actually documented it.
Okay, thank you. And Susie, would you ever think about going back to doing mortgages, or just stay with Lifeline?
Stay Lifeline is our own company, and mortgages, I don't want to even touch it. I'm a specialist on what I do, and mortgages, I got into it because of my brother, but it's something that I have learned, and it's part of what I help people with. Many times it says it's things that you learn throughout life that will bring you to a whole self of what you want to focus yourself into. And that's what I like is being able to be knowledgeable, to be able to guide people and my clients to what they need to do, especially for their financial well-being, for their future retirement. And that's what I do, is property and casualty, and guide them to be able to retire properly and in a financial situation that they can live comfortably. And many people nowadays, they don't even know where they are because of the debacle of the 2008, that they have lost a lot of money.
Yep. Well, thank you. It was a great story. I really appreciate it. And thank you again for being one of our speakers.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Christopher Stroud, and I am from Paducah, Kentucky. And my question is for Bert. What strengthened you to get into journaling, and how did it help you to grow?
Well, I did mention earlier that it helps me to grow every day. Why does it help you to grow? Because you're able to go back and reflect on some of the things and choices and decisions that you've been making in your life. One thing is, believe it or not, we forget a lot of the things that we do in life. You know, life goes by so fast, and then there's nothing really that you're recording. Nowadays, you have, Instagram, you record a picture, but you're not recording the experience. You have Facebook, you may put some quote up there, but you're not recording the experience. When you journal, you're recording your life. And 20, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, I mean, there's one thing I love to do. I love looking for antique places every time I travel. And I have a couple of journals that I bought in antique stores, people that have written certain things, because I'm fascinated by that. Because you're leaving a legacy behind, and some people take it for granted. When you look at successful people, they will always have something one of the things they usually fight about is that person's journal. Just imagine if you had right now, anyone that you look up to, any successful person, and you had their journal, their tools, their failures, their successes. So journaling is something that it's hard in the beginning, but once you start doing it, it's like a drug. It's a drug that's going to get you and take you to your next level of success. And something you can always go back and reflect and say, man, I didn't know, man, look at the way I was thinking 2 years ago. Or, wow, I was on 2 years ago, and I need to get back there again. So it works both ways.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Susie, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How has Lifeline strengthened you more?
Good question.
Oh boy, Lifeline has strengthened me. Which way is that we have created something that is, I do not know how to even explain it, because we keep on teaching people, and we have new associates coming to our world, to the financial world that we have created, that they see the magic that we do for others, especially for the young generation. Because nowadays you might not, they're talking about retirement, that is not going to be there, the Social Security, and the younger generation do not know much about what's going on. And that's what we're trying to give and teach out there, to be able to, for you guys to be able to retire properly. Because right now, if I retire tomorrow, I'm okay. The money that I will receive for Social Security might not be even enough for my rent. But how about you guys? How about the young generation? Before this, there used to be 10 employees working for one retiree. Now we have 3 employees working for one retiree. The difference is in the statistics, and that's not good. The statistics are not looking too good for you guys, for the young generation. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach and strengthen your financial future. And I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again for being the speaker. And thank you, Bert.
Thank you, Chris. All right, guys. I want to, first of all, thank Susie. Susie, thank you so much for your courage, because this was not easy. And I just love seeing you always excel and push yourself. And you always say, well, at my age is just a number.
I know.
You either have it or you don't. And Susie, you have it.
I break my leg because of thinking I was too young.
Yeah, I mean, she actually did break her leg because she went to a bounce house, one of those trampoline places, and she actually said, no, she said she was younger. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter how old you are. Anyone can break their legs in one of those places. But seriously, what I'm saying is, since the day I met you, you know, you've never held yourself back. You had your ups and your downs, and even with a broken leg, you still made it to the show. Some people, you know, broken leg and a broken finger, and you still made it. Some people won't make it, and they have everything going for them. So I really want to thank you. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for being a part of it. Everyone else, thank you. Hope you enjoyed the session as much as I enjoy doing it for you guys. And make sure to come back next week and bring someone with you. My name is Bert Oliva. Remember to live life and don't let life live you. And I will see you next week.
Register online and join us today for all new live interviews and weekly topics only at themastermindcircle.com.